Hey guys, welcome back with Sewing with Heather. I'm still working on that rag pet quilt for a friend of mine. We're actually on the last final step. So after you lay out your whole plan of what squares are going where, you'll piece them together like a standard quilting, but you'll put your backs together so that way your seam allowances are in the front. So when you piece your rows together, you are going to want to, what I call, sandwich your seam allowances together, so that way one goes one way, that one kind of went both ways, and the other goes the other way. So you end up with this cute little X-type sandwich, like that. So, let's see if I can pull this off. Basically, you are going to seam allowance one way, there we go, that way, and this one will go this way. They kind of naturally go which direction they want to go. You can iron them with a rag quilt, I don't. And then you'll pin that in place, and then you do that all the way down for the whole quilt, like the whole run of the strip. And then once you have all of them done, end up with a big portion. But once you have your whole quilt top together with all your rows together, like I have 2 more sets of 2 to put together before I put it onto this big one. So once I have them all done, I'm going to go around the whole edge, 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch in. So that way when you snip it, because you snip all your seam allowances right up to the stitch just before you touch the stitching, and that's what you get your raggy. So you want to be able to clip here, but if you clip here and you wash it, it's going to go all the way across until it hits the stitching here, which you don't want it to do. So you're going to actually stitch all the way around your whole, like all 4 sides of your quilt once you have all your pieces done. And then once you have that, depending on, you can either use these snips, which are decent and actually made kind of for rag snipping. They are spring loaded, so they pop back open so you can kind of, otherwise I use these guys, which are also Fisker spring loaded, but they're smaller, so smaller seam allowance, smaller scissors, you're only using the tip. So when you snip, you're gonna look at your seam allowance and where the stitches are. Right in the edge, right where your seam allowance is. So you're gonna go right up to that seam allowance. So let me make a couple quick snips and then I can show you what that looks like. Alrighty, so I made a couple quick cuts just so you can see what it does. So you're just gonna cut right up to just before the stitching of your seam allowance. And you're going through all the layers, so it's actually, if your batting came up, then you're snipping that too, because it'll fray, kind of wash away, but it gives it a little more fluff. So it's actually 4 layers of flannel, or 2 layers of cotton, and 2 layers of flannel, depends on what fabric you use for your top. I usually use cotton. This one I used flannel for the whole thing, so it's going to be super warm. But, and you can see, snip all the way through. I only did, maybe a square worth to show you. But, and then once you do sew along your edge, you're going to snip up to the stitching on your edges too. And then you could wash the whole thing. And this is all going to get shaggy across the whole thing. And it's going to look gorgeous. So, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let me know. Otherwise, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys with another project hopefully soon. Enjoy your holidays. Bye.